The Toronto Blue Jays are forced into an impossible decision, and while the Jays are in the midst of a huge playoff race, a decision is imminent that is stirring up a ton of controversy. We're going to break down exactly what that is and discuss new reports that have dropped surrounding this one incoming move. But not only that, folks, we have multiple huge Jays updates ahead of what's going to be one of the most anticipated regular season series in years. And also, a big update at the end of the video. I want you all to stay tuned for. It mean the world to myself if you could do so, folks. Before we do it all, if you're part of the percentage who aren't subscribed to the channel, you guys have been absolute beasts of the sport. So thank you guys for that. Make sure to hit that subscribe button, folks. It is a crazy day. We get to see Kershaw versus Scherzer. The first time since, I believe, 2008. It's going to be Dodgers versus Jays in Dodger Stadium. But I'm going to take a step back for a quick second. We'll have some updates on that in a moment here. The Jays are forced into a huge decision, and some new reports have dropped, revealing some interesting things. Some new articles have dropped surrounding this decision, and that is who you send down once Andres Gimenez returns. And with each passing day, his return becoming more and more imminent, the big question is, the Jays have a decision that not only are insiders a little bit confused about, obviously fans are confused about, the players themselves. This is might stir up some controversy here. But you can see this here. And this article is specifically talking about, of course, the demotion or promotion rather of, or I guess not promotion, but he's currently in AAA rehabbing. That's Andres Gimenez. The return of Andres Gimenez. Now, there's a lot of people discussing who should return. You can see here one obvious candidate to be removed from the roster is Buddy Kennedy, who recently has his contract selected. I think Buddy Kennedy is going to be the guy who goes down once George Springer returns. And obviously, Buddy Kennedy's the easy one. He's going to be going down in all likelihood when, George Springer returns. And ultimately, if Andres Gimenez returns first, then this exact same question is going to be, translated to the Springer thing. But beyond that, they have two regulars coming back, George Springer, Andres Gimenez. And you have one guy you can easily send down. That's Buddy Kennedy. The rest, that's the big question here. Is it going to be Davis Schneider, Ty France, Lo Perfido? You can see here, some have suggested Davis Schneider, who still has options left. They could also option Joey Lo Perfido, though he's been hitting the ball well. Also go on to say Nathan Lucas and Ty France. This is a decision that is wild because with each person you ask, everyone has a different answer. And the question is, Davis Schneider's mashing at the MLB level. Joey Lo Perfido's mashing at the MLB level. Nathan Lucas, you're not sending him down. Ty France, I don't think the Jays would make a trade and then DFA him, though some people do think it's going to be Ty France. It's going to be interesting. And obviously, you need to get rid of somebody because Buddy Kennedy, let's assume he goes down. Let's say George Springer returns first, right? And Buddy Kennedy gets optioned down and George Springer returns. Then once Andres Gimenez returns, let's say next week, you need to get rid of one of these guys. And bearing any of them cooling off a little bit here, it is going to be a very, very difficult decision because one thing to note is that in September, early September, rosters expand. So whoever you're sending down only has to go down for 2 to 3 weeks. But to tell Davis Schneider that he's going to be getting sent down after finally figuring it out at the MLB level again, that would be a very difficult conversation. And also, he's mashing lefties, righties. It doesn't matter. Joey Lo Perfido, basically the same thing. He is hitting better than Davis Schneider is and has been mashing since he got called up. Who do you can't send, in theory, either of those guys down. So then you look to Ty France, but I don't think the Jays management would really want to, DFA Ty France and then lose him when you could really, in theory, get option down Davis Schneider or Joey Lo Perfido and then call them back up in a couple of weeks when the September calls. But it's a wild question. A new article dropped as well saying that, Ty France, that's another guy that they could do. They could go ahead and obviously do Miles Straw. Miles Straw's not happening. I can bet every last dollar I own that Miles Straw is not going to be the one who's sent down. But in this recent article, they, named him, so I'll throw him out there. Straw's been critical to the team, both, as a pinch runner, clubhouse vibes. When you're in the midst of a run like this, I don't think you can take away a player like that from the clubhouse. I think there's something to be said about the vibes and the energy in the clubhouse. According to all accounts, Miles Straw is a fan favorite, obviously, but he's a clubhouse favorite as well. I don't think they're going to disrupt it that much. Can you go ahead and do it for a guy like Davis Schneider? Realistically, it probably makes the most sense to option one of Schneider or Lo Perfido and then bring them back up in 2 weeks and just tell them, hey, we want to keep Ty France because we just acquired him. He just went 4 for 4 and we can see something in him, former All-Star, and we don't want to lose a player, so we'll just bring you guys back in a couple weeks. But boy, is that a tough thing to say to a guy who's mashing, and you can see it. Same with Joey Lo Perfido. Now, the alternative here that not a lot of people are talking about is Mason Flaherty. You can option Mason Flaherty and then again bring him back when rosters expand. And all this is assuming no other injuries happen. Because if an injury happens, you obviously don't have to make this decision. You'll have another spot open or anything like that. But obviously, we don't want that to happen, right? God forbid an injury actually happens. However, the Flaherty thing is interesting, though I don't think it's very rare that you would want to take away an arm out of the bullpen. And obviously, Mason Flaherty is the guy you'd send down in this case. But you still kind of end up running into the same problem because Nick Sandlin's returning soon, and we assume that once Nick Sandlin returns, it's a perfect swap, right? You replace Nick Sandlin for Mason Flaherty, Flaherty the lefty, Nick Sandlin the righty with a splitter, which ultimately the Jays love using against left-handed hitters because splitters notoriously, especially Nick Sandlin's, gets lefties out really well, similar to what we've seen with Eric Swanson in 2023 and, last year and this year a little bit. So I think that's the obvious thing there. They are going to be forced into not only an impossible decision here, but one that is going to upset somebody. And maybe they go the easy route and just DFA Ty France. I don't think this front office would have acquired him and would get rid of a guy that I think that they can fix to a degree or bring back to his, Mariners All-Star days under Dave Popkins. And he's already making some strides. He went 4 for 4, got on base like 6 times in the last game, albeit one of them against a position player. It's a big decision. And let me know down below who you think, because obviously it's going to be interesting. And you obviously have, a big decision to make here. And everyone is starting to kind of give different answers. Some are saying, okay, low Perfido. Some are saying Schneider. Some are saying get rid of Ty France. And he's not really good anyway. My prediction would be one of Schneider or low Perfido, depending on, what the team's matchups are. If you're going up against a bunch of lefties for the 2 to 3 weeks that you are going to be, until the rosters expand, they probably option low Perfido. If you're going up against a bunch of righties, maybe you option Davis Schneider. That's obviously going to be the question. And let me know down below what your thoughts are. Now, speaking of lefties, the Jays do play a lefty today in Clayton Kershaw. They play a lefty tomorrow in Blake Snell. And with 46 games left to play, if the Jays go 22-24, you're still scratching 90 wins. I think to win the division, you probably need to go get 96, 97 wins, which would mean finishing 29-17 or 28-18, something around there. I believe their strength of schedule is like 0.505%. Their strength of schedule is not super favorable. It's a very interesting one in the sense of they've had some hard games, obviously some easy games. Like your next stretch is Dodgers and then the Cubs and the Rangers. A lot of those games at home, the Jays play way better. They are, after that, you have a bit of an easy stretch. So it's going to be interesting to see kind of, especially with this perspective, if they can get a Jays record with 100 wins, it would be crazy, obviously, but you'd have to really finish it off strong. And that's what the Jays team has been doing. Since April 30th, their WRC plus, which is runs created plus essentially, or weighted runs created plus rather, which is another way to measure, OPS. Basically 100 is average. Anything above that is, good. They're 24% above average. And the second team in that is, of course, the Dodgers. I mean, the Jays are by far the best, hitting team in that time span. It's a little bit crazy, and hopefully they can continue this going because it's going to be wild. So, I mean, at the end of the day, like, it's a crazy time right now. Moves are on the horizon. All these different things are happening. And something else is happening is George Springer. I mean, we know, and I want to bring this up, 2 days ago, was supposed to go through testing and was supposed to clear his rehab assignment. Didn't get cleared the day before yesterday. Didn't get cleared yesterday. Obviously, it's early in the morning now. We'll see if he gets cleared to, I guess, play a AAA game if they pay tonight or what the update is on that. We will have an update from Schneider today. And, of course, Jimenez is continuing to rehab, which is, what this whole video is about, the fact that they really have a tough decision to make. So let me know down below what your thoughts are on all this, folks. It is, I know how many times I've said it. It's a wild decision. I'm happy I don't have to make it. I think, like, logically, roster construction wise, you probably option one of low Perfido or Schneider. Might hurt some feelings and then bring him back up. But let me know down below what your thoughts are on that. But as I promised in the intro, before I wrap up, a new, interview, if you want to call it that, dropped with Buck Martinez. Folks, Buck Martinez is returning to the booth tonight. And I am very, very excited. Obviously, Buck Martinez, icon, legend, all these different things. And I wanted to kind of, highlight some of the things he said in his interview here, because it is, I don't know if heartwarming is necessarily the word. I mean, it is. It's super heartwarming to get Buck Martinez back, but he illustrates some of the struggles that he's been going through. And obviously, if you're unfamiliar, he's dealing with, cancer, which is obviously, a horrible thing to go through. And obviously, best wishes to him. Everybody keep him in your prayers and things like that. But he illustrated some things, and I wanted to bring this up. This dropped, late last night. And I wanted to bring up the article because really, Buck is an absolute warrior, and to see him tonight, I think he's going to give this Jays team, and especially everybody, in the clubhouse, an extra boost of energy. And basically, an article dropped with some information about, not necessarily directly what's going on, but how he's feeling and all these different things. And I just kind of want to highlight it because I want to shed some light on, how great Buck Martinez is for those who maybe aren't privy to the information about why he was missing and all these different things. We can see this here in the 10 weeks since 76-year-old Martinez fought really hard to return to the game he loves so much. And of course, it's all going to be coming back into a 3-game series starting tonight. It will be an emotional return for his Sportsnet colleagues and who have missed the heartbeat of the team along the way. Typically, Martinez doesn't want anyone to make a fuss. I don't want them to make a big deal. I mean, they did that last time. Hey, I was away. I'm back. Let's get back to work. I'm going to make it a big deal. I'm sure the people at Sportsnet will too. Like, Buck's an absolute icon. But feel free to pause and read this. A couple things are going on here. So he basically goes into some details about, obviously battling with the cancer and the chemotherapy and all these different things. He was, struggling really hard, but the one thing he wanted to do is return to work. And you can see here in the second paragraph, he kind of dove into the struggles a little bit with his knee being unable to walk and all these different things. And he basically said he couldn't walk after his first session of chemotherapy. It flared up my knee so bad, so I had to have a cane. I couldn't move my shoulder, but that's the last time I've had any troubles. Nothing that's going to keep me from working. Though he's ready to return from work, Martinez isn't completely free of treatment. So he's going to call the Dodgers game this weekend, return to Toronto, do the 6-game homestand in Toronto. And then after that, he'll be gone again for a couple of weeks. And I want to bring this to light as well, because I've seen a lot of comments about it, but also just a lot in general of questions about where Buck Martinez is. Just want to give you guys like this ahead of the series, because I know a lot of people aren't really talking about it. He's going to be calling tonight's series, going back home for 9 games total, and then again he'll be leaving for another 2 weeks. So it's we all love Buck Martinez. He's an absolute legend. Keep him in your prayers, keep him in your thoughts, and obviously it's great to have him back. And he says at the bottom he didn't even know if he was going to come back. That was the big thing. And he was pretty grumpy when he first found out about it. Wife has been phenomenal. She never let me feel sorry for myself. She always pointed the children we saw in the hospital in Houston and said, "You don't have it so bad." She's a rock. So obviously shout out to Buck's wife as well. But I just wanted to bring this up. Everyone keep him in your prayers, hug your family members, everything like that. Life can be short, and life is short, and it's baseball is obviously a sport and things like that, but life is obviously the number one priority here, and I think we're all super excited to have Buck Martinez back. But I just want to bring that up, ladies and gentlemen. Your guys' support's been unbelievable. You guys truly mean the world to myself. So let me know down below what your thoughts are on the entire video. Obviously, let's hope the Blue Jays go out there and win a series for Buck Martinez, and really excited to see him, or hear him rather, and see him in the booth tonight in one of the most anticipated games in the last decade in the regular season, folks. Have a fantastic day. I'll see you guys for another video either later today or tomorrow.